Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be going through some conversations from online dating, because obviously right now with the lockdown and everything it might be relevant to some of you who might be dabbling in it a bit. So yeah, I'm going to be showing some conversations from like Tinder, Bumble, that kind of thing, just some conversations where I've arranged dates and that kind of thing. I think the main thing to note is that I don't take it like that seriously. I'm very playful with the conversations that I'm having, almost taking the piss in a lot of the stuff that I'm saying. Partly I do that anyway, you know, even in the day game interactions as well, because it's kind of like my style, I guess. But here I'm kind of pushing it a bit more to the extreme, because the way I see it is that I'd rather just kind of screen the girls early, see if there's a little bit of interest like at the beginning, and just push it as far as I can and as quickly as I can, rather than having these long drawn out conversations, because I generally don't like having to text in general. I don't want to spend ages and ages and ages like texting back and forth. I'd rather just kind of, you know, spend a bit of, you know, time, just a little bit of conversation over maybe a couple of days, and then try and get a date sorted out, because I really can't be bothered to spend ages and ages doing this kind of thing, because that's a trap you can fall into. Obviously it depends how many matches you get, but you know, you might, you know, get a number of matches and just spend so much time just texting, and I really don't, I'd like to do that. So yeah, so first of all, this one, I think this one was from Ukraine, and yeah, just to go through it, first of all, just hey, hi, how you doing? Very started off just with some basic small talk. She actually started off the conversation this time, which can happen sometimes, but you know, vast majority of the time you're going to have to start the conversation yourself, unless it's Bumble, because in Bumble they have to start the conversation themselves. That's how the app works. But anyway, so she says, yeah, I'm great, where are you from? I'm splendid, from the UK. You. So it started off very boring with just boring small talk, which is fine for now. And then she says, yes, you are splendid, what are you looking for, why am I splendid? So now I'm trying to kind of just spike it up a little, well, or make it slightly more interesting at this point, just to, you know, whenever you ask why to whatever it is, that normally gets her to invest a bit more into the conversation, and that's when you start revealing a bit more information. So always try and think of why she said something. You know, make that assumption of why she says it, or just ask her why she says it, and then you'll get usually some interesting information which you can then play off on later. She then says, you said that, what are you looking for? So she's saying like, what are you looking for? You know, with Ukrainian girls, they're normally looking for like long-term relationship type stuff. So on the one hand, I don't want to kind of like fall into that frame completely, but at the same time I don't want to completely blow myself out, so I have this kind of like a little bit of a middle ground, but at the same time spiking it up quite a bit by saying I'm looking for a Ukrainian princess. So that's kind of a bit ambiguous as to what I'm actually looking for, but it is quite effective in terms of flirting. And then I'd say the same thing back to her. So yeah, she's intrigued. She says, what will you do with the princess? And then I play along further with this narrative, saying hopefully I'll marry her one day so that I become king. So that whenever you like make a tease or a joke or something, it's really important that you follow through with that narrative. So don't just make that joke and then end it or switch conversation topics. Carry on with that conversation topic. So like push it further, push that narrative that you just created further and further. And then that way, you know, it really will help you develop more engaging and fun conversations, and get the girls more invested. So she asked me a couple more questions. I just say, yeah, I'm kidding, I'm a British gentleman, so I'm highly respectful. It says how old I am on my profile. So you're looking for some fun. So she kind of is shit testing me a little bit here by asking whether I'm just looking for some fun, because she's clearly not. She's clearly looking for like a long-term thing, which is usually the case with Ukrainian girls, like 90% of the time anyway. So yeah, I then say, I try and just dial it down at this point, because she's repeated the question again, kind of. So at this point, you know, it wouldn't be very calibrated to carry on making jokes and teasing and flirting and that kind of thing. So I just say, no, I'm looking for a stable, loving relationship without the boring parts. Just to, again, a bit of a middle ground approach. So like, you know, saying that, yes, looking for a relationship, as long as it's not boring, basically. What are you looking for? So she says, I'm tired of having fun, I just want normal, respectful relations. Here I kind of go back to having fun and teasing and stuff. So here I'm taking the piss a little bit. I say, I know what you mean. Girls are always using me for fun, and it gets annoying after a while. I just want to find a nice girl with respect. So here I'm just kind of playing this like role reversal thing where I'm just taking the piss completely, as if like, you know, a girl is always complaining about guys using them for fun or whatever. So I'm just like playing along that narrative, but like throwing it back at her kind of. So she's very surprised. They really like that. Sorry about that. I accept your apology. And then then here I'm just kind of changing the subject. So tell me about yourself. That's usually kind of a dumb thing to say. It's better to be a bit more specific. It's normally, you know, at least here I'm saying it when there's been at least a bit of investment on her end, so it's not that bad. But generally speaking, it's kind of a dumb thing to say. It's better to be a bit more specific, like what do you do for work, or how long have you been living in wherever, or just make that assumption like you look like you're probably a dancer or something. So she gives some information about herself. I do the same. Oh, so you like movies, and you, Edward, me what? Name. So like, yeah, like there's a bit of a language barrier a little bit, which is fine. It's okay as long as you don't like be overly complicated in what you're saying, or just clarify whenever that's needed. Yes, Ed for short. I like your name. Oh really? What do you like about it? How it sounds like nice and uncomplicated, like my personality. Yeah, so again, just making a few more jokes, light-hearted jokes. That's fine. I like uncomplicated people. We're off to a good start, aren't we? Yes we are. Yeah, we should probably go on a date or something. So that's how I'm kind of seeing a date. So it's not been that much texting back and forth, but I don't really want to spend ages and ages you know, texting one girl who may end up flaking or changing her mind, which is often the case. So I should tend to, you know, see dates fairly quickly. So yeah, it's a good way to kind of just say, hey, instead of saying like, oh, let's meet up on Friday or whenever, it's just like you're kind of seeding the date request into the narrative of what's been what you've been having in the conversation before. So, you know, it's relevant to whatever she was saying. So it's like, oh, we're off to a good start. Yes, we are. Oh, we should probably go on a date or something. And then yeah, it's just a case of just exchanging WhatsApps at this point, and then yeah, just figuring out logistics basically. So this one was one, I believe, from London. I think a Polish girl, and here this is Bumble, so she has to start off the conversation. So she gives the most lazy fucking opener that you could think of, just hey, which is sometimes what girls do, especially if they're like reasonably hot. They don't have to put that much effort, and they kind of know that they don't have to put that much effort. My kind of like go-to opener, either for Tinder, Bumble, whatever it is basically this: hello, it is my absolute pleasure to make your acquaintance. It sounds stupid and cringy, and it is, but I just fucking own it and just do it anyway. Just because, again, like I said before, I don't really take this too seriously. I like to take the piss a little bit. So yeah, it sounds like stupid, but it basically works. You know, if the girl likes you or likes your profile, then she will respond back. You know, the way I see it is that it's kind of stating your intention without being too over the top. Like, for example, thinking up some really elaborate pickup line or something. This is just kind of like, oh, hi, nice to meet you, but in a more fancy way of saying that, basically. So yeah, she says, oh, thanks, where do you live, how are you? Basically small talk. I'm splendid, and you, North London. Do you want my street, house number and postcode as well? So yeah, I'm just kind of taking the piss because she's asking where do I live. And she's playing along, which is good. Whenever you like make a joke and the girl's playing along, that's always good. So again, carry on with that narrative, push that narrative further. So she wants to know where I live exactly, so make that joke, but keep on pushing that narrative a bit further along. So you're not just making that one joke and then switching to some other topic. Carry on with it a bit more. I hope you're not one of those weird online stalker girls. It's not that far, blah blah blah. Well, I don't have time for stalking, so I have a job and uni. Okay, that's a relief. You can never be too sure with girls on here. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Then she asks, why are you on Bumble? And then I say, why? Because I knew you'd be on here. It was fate. Sorry, that was cheesy. I'm looking for a special partner in crime. Yeah, it's quite like lame and cheesy what I'm saying, but this can work fairly effectively, I would say, in online dating. As long as you own what you're saying and you don't sort of like back down on what you're saying, you can get away with just saying some cheesy nonsense, which is kind of how I like to do it, just to take the piss a bit, and just make those jokes basically. Blah blah blah. Where did you think I lived? I mean, in West. Geographical boundaries will not keep us apart. Again, making a bit of a joke. Maybe you can convince me to move closer to West, because she was living in West London. So again, it's seeing how invested she is at this point. Blah blah blah. And then where? Oh my god, so far not sure yet. Where do you recommend? Here she actually gives, I think, her specific like road and stuff. So I say that's awfully specific. Is that where you live? Yes. Thanks for the invitation. You have a spare room, or am I sleeping on the floor? My floor. So she's actually escalating a little bit at this point, which is always good. If a girl is escalating on you first, that's really good. You just have to keep pushing it, and let her invest. Carry on basically. Okay, deal. Do you live alone or with friends? My sister. When can I move in? Tomorrow. Shall we get married as well while we're at it? So here it's like, I'm carrying on with that narrative, but kind of like making a reference to, like, whenever you can make a reference to things like marriage, dating, Tinder, meeting guys, that kind of thing, it's always good at throwing that into the conversation. So here I'm throwing that into the conversation, and so it's escalating it a bit more, but just being ridiculous, like having fun, being playful, and being a bit ridiculous. That's what it's all about, really. Having a laugh, making fun, and then that's how you get the girls interested and engaged. It's not a boring conversation like she's having with loads of other guys, just boring small talk. It's actually far more engaging. So she's playing along as well. She says yes, and then I kind of like back down a bit. Let's take it slowly at first, please. First we need to meet up so that I can make sure you're not crazy. So it's a bit of a push-pull dynamic going on here. I've pulled her a lot with that marriage stuff, and then it's about pushing her away at this point a little bit, just to calibrate a bit. But also it's a good point now to start seeding for date logistics as well. So then at this point it's just about asking for a WhatsApp number and then getting the date logistics sorted out. With all this stuff, these conversations that are on these like online dating apps, what I tend to do is just text a little bit on there and then try and move them on to like WhatsApp. It's about like filtering the ones that are interested, get them on WhatsApp, and then from there try and sort out the proper date logistics. That's kind of the way I like to do it. I don't like to just communicate a lot on the app, because for the way I see it is that she's going to be texting loads of other guys on the app, whereas if you can bounce her over to WhatsApp or Viber if she's like Eastern European, then it gives you that special I think, and it makes like you seem a bit more relevant to her. She's going to remember you. She's going to place you in higher value compared to the other guys who are still texting her on the app. Because actually I think like with like most guys, they actually organize their dates and stuff actually on the app, and they don't even bother to like exchange numbers until like the first or second date or whatever. So here I try and bounce them over to WhatsApp like fairly quickly. Cheers for watching. If you'd be interested in one-to-one coaching with me, where we'll go out in public and work on your approach at girls, or more generally with your social confidence, please visit my website ed-game.com.